Sir, I'm Arnab Mandal. I'm from TERI. I'm a student of sustainable development over there. Sir, what I'm asking is, I mean, if you look at the reach of social media in rural sector, it's very less, right? Because the people over there do not have internet access. They do not know what this site all about. So, but if you look at the reach of the mobile phone, it's huge. I mean, the last week we had a lecture from a American university, and the professor would clearly said, I mean, there was a study by an international agency. It says the number of mobile phone users in India are higher than the number of toilet users. It's quite surprising, but this is the fact. So, if we use this mobile phone for microblogging, I mean, a citizen of a villager will use the mobile phone for microblogging, and that tweet, if we call it, that will go to the website of some government organization, or it will go to some people who take care of it. Then it could be a good strategy to take for the digital inclusion and also the inclusive growth. So what's your take on that?
You're absolutely right. At this point in time, the rural teledensity is just over 30% at this point in time. We have about 80 crores mobile phones in this country. That's about 800 million people have mobile phones. But the actual teledensity is just over 400 million, because the rest of them, I mean, I'm sure each one of this audience has more than one mobile phone, right? So, so the actual teledensity is around 40 to 45%. So there is still 65% people or 60% people who are left out of the mobile revolution. So it's going to take some time for teledensity to improve in the rural areas. But absolutely, you know, I was saying the other day, I was in another platform, and I said, nowadays the constant companion of a husband and wife is the mobile phone. Because you can't do without that.
And separately.
You can do without each other, but you can't do without a mobile phone. So that's the power of the mobile phone. And we want that mobile phone in the hands of every citizen. And this is what we are going to do. We're going to achieve that. And that's why we want the telecom sector to be healthy. We don't want to destroy it either, because this is the sector which gives the second largest revenue to our country. This is the sector which, where the teledensity in India in 2001 was just over 1%. Today it's 66%. In 11 years, it's the fastest growing sector in the world, with 15 to 20 million mobile phones every month. It is the second largest sector in the world, but the fastest growing. So, yes, you're absolutely right. We need to empower but it's going to take some time. Remember, a lot of people who Twitter and who tweet and do things like that do it in the English language. So we need all this to happen in regional languages. So we need software to develop so that even if you tweet in English, it gets converted into the language that the recipient knows. And that also. So these are all transformational things that are going to happen in the next few years. And Microsoft is going to hopefully give us a hand in doing some of these things. We have software already that translates instantaneously. For example, you talked about the tsunami. I think you talked about the tsunami. We have developed a software when I was in the Science and Technology Ministry that we can actually send messages through mobile phone, which gets converted into voice, and in the language in which the recipient is located. So you can actually, when there is a warning of a tsunami, because not everybody has a mobile phone, we can have a loudspeaker which translates the message in English into the local language so that the people in the locality know what's going to happen, so that they are aware of what the danger ahead is and protect themselves. So that's the power, and that we must encourage.
My name is Sanjay Bhargav from Let's Do It Delhi. What it would seem to me, so my question was related to the thing that you mentioned about the danger of the platform and the balance not being okay and so on and so forth. Now, it would seem to me that, you know, if the government was to also use the platform a lot to actually communicate information, then this danger of the balance and misinformation and so on and so forth should not be there. Or am I missing something?
No, I was putting an issue on the table to be discussed. I was not coming to any conclusion. These are issues that need to be looked at when you move forward on the platform. But remember this, the information that I give out to you is something that is unrelated to the information that you want. I don't know what information you want. Suddenly you put information on the platform, I don't know what answer you want, and by the time I try and get that answer through the paper transactions that I have, 1 week may be lost, and by that time there's a whole movement ahead. I've seen that on national television in the last 3-4 months. It happens. And this is not something that we've seen it. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't have the platform. We must have the platform. That does not mean that we shouldn't get empowered. We must get empowered. That shouldn't mean that the government should not respond. It must respond. But we must put systems in place so that the nature of the question and the nature of the response is constructive to make the nation move forward. That's the point.
My name is Nikhil. I run a site called Medianama.com. Just a question about whether the government intends to make large data sets available for people to use. For example, the governments of the UK and the US have done that. And there's a field of data journalism that's taken root. And as an addendum to that, one of the
Please speak into the mic.
Sure. One of the issues related to the blocks of the internet is that there's a lack of transparency. We don't know what sites have been blocked, why they have been blocked. When a book is banned, that information is there for everyone to read about. On the internet, it's just opacity. We don't know what's going on, and that's a part of the problem. We're worried,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I believe personally that all data should be, most data, subject to security considerations and some other considerations, should be in the public domain, without any doubt. We're trying to do that. We are trying to do that within the Human Resource Development Ministry. And soon all data will be. Not only that, we are trying to build a platform through which data can be exchanged. Remember, there must be free flow of data. And so the form of data must be uniform throughout the country, so that it can flow from the district level, from the taluka, right up to the central government. So the nature of data must be such that it must be free flowing, so that I can get data from a district administration, from the net itself. That should be the nature of data, and that must happen. But it can't happen tomorrow. Remember, this is a new revolution that's taking place in this country, but we are moving in that direction. This government is committed to move in that direction. Not only that, let me share something else with you. We are trying not just statistics and data, but geospatial data. A lot of transformational change can take place in this country if you have geospatial data on the ground. That's most important. Let me give you a small example that many of you may not know. 3 years ago, there was a big debate in this country. Why a debate? There was debate on unauthorized construction. There was the Supreme Court which said that, we must demolish this, we must demolish that. And people even today are building without reference to any rules, even as I talk, in Delhi. That's because of the pressure of population and many other things. Nobody can afford to buy land in Delhi, so people will build. And if your regulations are not good enough, people will build unauthorizedly. So I was then the Science and Technology Minister, and I called my department and I said, I don't trust inspectors anymore, because when you send inspectors, they get compromised. I want a technology solution for this. So they said, give us about 4 months. So we ultimately found a technology solution. And I said, start from Chandni Chowk, the most difficult constituency, because it's the most congested. So they gave me a technology solution for Chandni Chowk. What was the solution? Every house, every habitation, every commercial area in Chandni Chowk has a computer number. As I talk, if somebody wants to put an extra window, the computer tells you in the morning that this is happening in that building. This is the power of data, since you asked a question on data. Then I told the Delhi Chief Minister, because I realized that this technology can be used not just for stopping unauthorized construction, but it can be used for all kinds of other inclusive things. So, I went to the Delhi Chief Minister and I said, why don't we put all the data of Delhi on this geospatial platform? So, with great difficulty, and ultimately the Delhi Chief Minister agreed and they started the project. That project is 99% complete today. What have we done? We have mapped every electricity line in this city. We have mapped every water connection in this city, every water line, underground as well. We have, and we do this through aerial photography, spatial photography, and videography. And through a software, we marry all the data. We know in which shop, who is the owner, how many people are working there. We know the location of every place. Through this, and this is going to be completed in the next 15 days or so. Through this, if there is some water pipe gets burst, you don't have to dig the road. With sensors, you can locate where the water pipe is burst and you can repair it. If there is a fire somewhere, through geospatial mapping, I know which is the nearest hospital because that's already mapped, that data is available. I can tell the route which is the shortest route for those who are injured to reach there. We in fact, we use that database for the recent Commonwealth Games. Right? It can be, we have night vision cameras with a range of 5 kilometers each, and they're going to be about 69 odd cameras in Delhi, and they work day and night. So we can also use it for security. Of course, you can't peep into people's homes, but other than that, you can actually do all these things. This is the power of data. But you know, you never talk about it in the news. You know, no news channel talks about all this wonderful work. This is the power of data, and this is how data is not regarded by the media when it is for useful things.